Do you think you have to consciously try to break that thought pattern to actually move on?
In my experience, you are the only person who can offer yourself closure. And by bringing them into the picture and, giving them the virtual microphone in your life, you're wasting your time and your energy. And it's only going to make things harder at the end of the day.
Buckle up, bitches. This is gonna get bumpy. This is the Breakup Diet.
Today I'm joined by Olympia Anley. So welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
And I thought it'd be really fun today to talk about longevity, because I actually don't know much about it, and overall wellness. So that's why I thought I would have you on.
Awesome. I'm very happy to be here.
So before we get into that, who are you? What do you do? How did you get into the wellness space?
My name's Olympia, and I have been creating content on social media full-time for about a year, dedicated to wellness and my journey with it and things that I'm learning. I got into the wellness space because I overdid it as a university student, pretty much.
Okay.
First year at Bristol was pretty heavy. It was just kind of non-stop going out. It never became a problem, but it got to the point where my body started to have symptoms that were big red flags.
Like rashes or something, or bloating?
Bloating, a lot of inflammation. I was passing, at some points, blood in my stool, and I thought I was dying. So, when you just aren't listening to any symptoms, and I'd have the worst hangovers, and I'd be coming back from a night out and my flatmates would be going to their lectures, and it was just relentless to the point where I was like, this has got to stop. And so alcohol was the first thing that went for me. And that was the start of my road into wellness, because I felt incredible, stopping drinking as someone who had really enjoyed it previously. And then I really kind of came back to myself, was able to listen to the cues from my body, and was like, what else is there? What else am I missing, in this wellness game? And it kind of positively spiraled from stopping drinking.
So you're sober now?
Yeah.
Did you go sober when you were at the uni?
No, I phased it out in probably my second year of uni, which was a really interesting experience because...
That must be really hard, actually. I know I get all the benefits for it, but I think I would find that very hard.
Do you drink regularly?
I want to say no. I do drink. I probably do drink too regularly now because of summer more, if I'm being completely honest.
I'm quite a black and white person, so once I learned the science that there were absolutely zero benefits, and it was and for me it was drinking was a bit of a form of self-harm. It took me so far outside of my body that I couldn't even register whether I was really having a good time or wanted to be there or be with those people, or And so I phased it out, would occasionally have an occasion drink at Christmas or a wedding kind of thing. And then I was like, what's the point? This for me doesn't feel like a struggle to cut it out completely. And I, wouldn't have any expectation for it to be the same with anyone else. Yeah. But for me, I didn't need it. And I feel okay without it. And now I've got to the point in my life where don't miss it, don't think about it, not interested.
That's so great. 6
years ago, me would be like, what are you on about? Because in the UK, we start drinking when we're 13, all these house parties.
Young. Yeah. It's super young. I think mine was 13.
Yeah.
First off, do you have a boyfriend?
Yeah.
But did you have a boyfriend then?
When I stopped, no, I didn't.
Did you find it hard when you were dating at the start then, not having a drink? Because that's the automatic thing of people go, let's go for a drink.
That's a great question. And honestly, I found dating a lot more invigorating and real because you didn't have that social lubricant. You didn't have that atmospheric relaxant of going for a drink, which is how most people connect and bond and then build their relationships through, this commonality of drinking alcohol together. And so instead, I would go in broad daylight for a coffee or a walk, as a first date. And I felt like it was a fast track way of getting to know someone and, seeing whether there was something real there rather than 3 dates in, you've been drunk every time.
You think you like them because you've got the beer goggles or whatever they're called on.
I mean, depending on what your vision for your future self is and your future relationship, if you want to have the kind of relationship where you're cracking a bottle of wine open, over dinner, then so be it. But that's not the lifestyle that I'd envisioned for myself. So I wasn't going to compromise when it came to the dating scene and give a potentially false version of myself to this person I was meeting to then go, actually, let's change the narrative. I don't like drinking and, this isn't what our relationship would look like in the future.
Yeah, you should be doing that.
Cut the bullshit. Let's get straight to whether there's something going on here or not.
Yeah, I think also it must have been hard though at the very start, just making the change. If you, maybe not you specifically, but in general, if you're somebody that like uses alcohol as a bit of like Dutch courage.
And I'd experienced that with partying and going out. It was courage. Like, I had the courage to stand in a freezing cold club queue line for about an hour. And then as soon as I went sober, I was like, this is boring and horrific and I'm leaving.
Yeah.
So it was an entire lifestyle shift.
Amazing. And now you're a longevity coach, is it?
Yeah, I did a qualification. I'm always learning and studying and taking on board new ideas and science, related to longevity.
And for anybody that might not know what longevity is, what is it in your opinion?
I think the definition of longevity is just a long time. So, longevity of a glass water bottle might be longer than that of a plastic water bottle. But as related to humans and health, it's unique because it takes into account not just your lifespan, which is how many years you live, but also your health span, which is how many of those years are spent disease-free, not in a wheelchair, because there's no point living till 100 if the last 30 years or so are spent, on your bed.
The way that you got into like longevity and wellness is through your own experiences. So how did you know where to start on yourself? Okay, you said the alcohol you cut. Did you automatically see results from doing that? Or was it more you went into deep diving into research or did you see specialists? Like,
I went down the, healthcare route, saw my doctor. She told me, this was an NHS doctor, that the gut microbiome and gut health was all just research and that there's no science or evidence behind it.
Okay.
And I was like, well, I've tried everything and nothing's working here. So then I kind of went into slightly more alternative holistic medicine, or a naturopath, or a, radiologist, a kinesiologist, all these things, and people who give you different interpretations and diagnoses. And through that process, I learned so much. Mm-hmm. And it's hard to exactly quantify where the starting point is, because when you're able to draw upon lots of different types of holistic healing and medicinal practices, they all end up integrating. But really, what I learned was it's about energy, tuning into how you really feel. So that my illness, when I got to the bottom of it, it was psychosomatic.
What does that even mean?
The symptoms are felt and experienced, but it's come from... So emotions are energy in motion. Mm-hmm. And you can get blockages and trauma and things that are stored in the body, or, I remember reading this book and it said like pain in the knees can represent a fear of moving forwards, or like every body part can
trauma response.
Exactly. Can hold and respond differently to events in your life that have happened. Or our minds are so powerful and they ultimately affect our biology. Okay. Depending on your mindset. So psychosomatic, psycho relating to the mind and the brain, and somatic, as relating to the entire being. For me, getting to the root cause and the start of my journey was realizing that it started with me, not with any, treatment or cure. It started with how I felt about myself and my, self-development practice and doing some inner work.
Are there things that we could be doing like in the day-to-day that might seem small to you because, you know about a lot of stuff that like will improve our general health? Like maybe a non-toxic product that we should be using, or a toxic product that's actually whacks out our body loads. Like lots of people talk about deodorant, for example.
There's so many, but because it's fresh in my mind, a fun but unexpected one that most people use and wear but aren't aware is potentially really ruining their health is perfume. You definitely don't want to hear that. But the term puff out of fragrance, whether it's in a moisturizer or a body lotion or a shower gel, or even just the perfume that you actually spray on yourself, it can contain dozens of undisclosed chemicals. And what these chemicals do is they get into your bloodstream and then they mimic estrogen. And so the endocrine system, which is the hormone system within your body, is a messaging network that then gets confused, which is why you ultimately end up with, hormonal imbalances and problems that can result in things like PCOS.
What about somebody that sprayed it on their clothes mostly, not on their direct skin? Is that better?
Better. I mean, the worst is spraying it right on your neck because you have the thyroid gland here, which is an important gland within the system. So spraying it on your clothes is better, but you're still inhaling it, and it contain, phthalates and parabens and all sorts of unwanted things. And it's the kind of thing where you get used to it, the smell of the perfume, but as soon as you don't wear it, you become hyper conscious of it. And then I get a headache now if I were to wear perfume.
Oh gosh, sorry, you're definitely going to get a headache from being in my house.
Good. But I feel like most people don't ever think about that one.
No.
But in terms of the cosmetics lineup, is an easy one to, either reduce or swap out, because they're great non-toxic options now.
Do you know any and where you can get them and that sort of thing?
I really like Moods aromatherapy. They actually have some clinical trials and studies to show the effects of the essential oils on your brain. So they have ones for improving concentration or sleep or going to the gym, and basically empowering you with these different sensations as resulting from the smells.
There we go,
Moods, and you can get them on Health.
And for somebody that might feel burnt out, because I keep seeing on social media, that's a big topic that people talk about, is feeling burnt out and overwhelmed. What's something that you would suggest for them to do to reset?
100%, it would be meditate. If you're feeling burnt out, and I experience burnout all the time, it's because I am too in my head, and I've got a million thoughts racing, a million things I have to do. I'm trying to do it all. I become slightly manic and ADHD, and I'm all over the place. And meditating gives me the spaciousness to kind of create some awareness of what's going on in my life and in my mind, and just, drop in to my body. On the whole sliding scale of health, what are your priorities?
I just want to feel healthy and, the best version of myself internally, because for a lot of years I didn't. So I guess that could actually be a question to you. For somebody who wants to feel great in themselves, what would you suggest that they start with?
There's everything and anything. And I feel like it can be really overwhelming because there are so many things you can do. There's your clothing to think about. There's the food that you eat.
I've not even thought about my clothing.
Oh my gosh, that's a big topic.
Wearing it? As in there's it going into my skin or something?
The dyes, the chemicals, the microplastics, the BPAs. Brands like Shein and Lululemon are under investigation by the Texas Attorney General for containing these toxic chemicals.
I love Lululemon. Fuck!
Lulus are the worst.
No.
Yes.
They have the best tights. They have the best tights.
Trust me, I used to be a Lulu diehard. Not anymore. I've had to chuck it all out.
So how do you know what clothes are safe then?
They legally have to put the fabric composition on the label. So in your Lululemon leggings, if you have a look, it will likely be polyester, elastane, both of which are petroleum-derived plastics, right? So they're not only harmful to your health, they're also harmful to the environment and really unsustainable. But aside from that, the dyes, the chemical processes that are used that then sit against your skin, when you exercise, your pores open and you're subject to absorbing all of those basically plastic crap and chemicals that are in the leggings. It's effectively like wearing a plastic bag wrapped around your most intimate parts that are very sensitive and absorbent.
Jesus, so what else is there? I know plastic about plastic bottles and coffee cups.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to be having a hot liquid in plastic, and most paper cups are lined with plastic because otherwise they would disintegrate as soon as you put the hot liquid in. Microplastics within diet is a big one, and the worst sources of those are heat, and then spicy foods, fatty foods, because they leach the microplastics extra. So let's say you've got your sriracha sauce in a plastic bottle, that's a no-go. Or
going upstairs and I'm chucking it out.
or a plastic ready meal that you then put in the microwave. You're double baking the plastic with the heat, with the food that's ultimately going to get contaminated, and then you're ingesting that directly into your system.
This is quite hard to avoid all of these things, if you think about everything.
There's so much,
or is it more about limiting it? Because, as in clothing, then are you having to switch out your entire wardrobe?
Yeah, you are, if you want to go to the extreme. But I would say the important places to start are where you're getting the most exposure. If you're able to limit that, that's what's going to move the needle most for you. So it might be through diet. Let's say you have a habit of drinking out of a plastic water bottle.
I do, yes.
You don't know how long that water's been in the plastic bottle. It might have been in the heat on a shipping container, for however many months before it's arrived at you. And you might be drinking it fresh out the fridge thinking, oh, crisp, cold water, but actually it's been heated and the microplastics have been leached. And there's lots of testing and studies that show the level of contaminants in plastic water bottles. So maybe if you're doing that every day, you would want to reduce that. Or if you're wearing polyester underpants every day, maybe you would want to invest in some cotton ones or bamboo ones with a closed loop Ecotech certification. It's a whole world of non-tox, but I think the important thing to remember is only the incremental changes will be sustainable. It's hard to full send everything at once without getting overwhelmed.
Everything and anything. If you try to go all guns blazing at every single element, you just burn out.
Definitely.
And then you got to meditate.
Yeah, exactly. Meditation comes first.
With the meditation, for somebody that doesn't know how to do it or where to start with it, is there an app that's very helpful when you're first beginning that you kind of listen to a guided thing? Or is it you close your eyes and listen to the breath and you try to just not think about anything?
There are definitely apps you can get Headspace and things. But for me, I find it really helpful to habit stack it. So in the morning, I have a red light mask that I'll put on and it lasts for 10 minutes. And during those 10 minutes, it's a really bright red light. You can't really do very much because you look like Darth Vader. I just sit there and I meditate for those 10 minutes. And then I don't have to look at my phone for a timer or anything because it's an automatic 10-minute thing. And for me, it's just a process of, coming back to my breath. Tuning in to how I actually feel that morning, because quite often we begin the day and we jump straight back into the story of who we are and what we've got to do, and we buy into this narrative that we've created and this identity, whereas if you wake up and you feel how am I actually feeling this morning, and you practice that deep self-honesty of what's coming up for you. Maybe you are feeling a bit anxious, maybe you feel really light, and to carry that awareness then with you throughout the day, I just find it makes life so much easier to navigate.
I'm feeling like a unwell human.
I'm deep down the rabbit hole of and I've been spending years kind of exacerbating and perfecting my routine and trying out all of these different techniques and seeing what works and what feels good for me. And so it's a lot.
How do you navigate what's actually just a trend, a hype or a trend? So for example, at one stage, everyone was obsessed with beef tallow.
It's research. It's seeing who's behind the marketing campaign. Is it a brand, and have you looked at the ingredients? Let's say it's a product or, a beef tallow moisturizer. Have you actually looked, how much beef tallow is in it? And then of course it's trying and testing. Does beef tallow work for my skin? Does it smell bad? It's trial and error, but it's also doing your due diligence around these brands, because often they will create a big marketing hype by, injecting budget into these campaigns that go viral for a moment and then they sell loads of products. But what's actually in the product, and does it work for you personally?
Mm-hmm. And is there a site where you can check things?
Omri, which is a products list that you can have a look at standards and a whole breakdown of the product. There's also the Toxic Free Foundation, where you can search an ingredient in their database and it will tell you about the toxicity of the ingredient.
Okay, that's good too.
I mean, there's the Yucca app, YUKA, where you can scan a product's barcode and it will also give you a breakdown of the ingredients. But that's also to be taken with a pinch of salt, because it doesn't flag things like, parfum fragrance. I think as a rule of thumb, when you're looking at an ingredients label, are they all things that are identifiable, that you can recognize, that you can pronounce, and it shouldn't have 50 ingredients that you don't know what half of them are.
Yeah.
There are ridiculous statistics about most women will put something 3,000 chemicals on their face in the morning before they've even left the house.
Oh God, I don't even want to know.
And makeup to think about too.
Yeah. Going back to your thing of where's my biggest one right now, I'm thinking, oh God.
Your biggest exposure.
I do drink a lot of water from plastic bottles.
Well, that might be a good place to start.
And for somebody that maybe has just had a breakup and is feeling a bit, self-critical, low, maybe a loss of confidence, that sort of thing, what's something you would suggest that they do to try to get them out of that space?
So I did I've done 2 10-day silent meditation retreats.
Silent?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which I learned so much on, because there was an evening discourse by this very wise old man who shared a word called anicca, which means this too shall pass. And so whenever I'm in a sticky place or I'm not feeling good in myself, I remind myself that this too shall pass. And whatever sensations, emotions, thoughts are arising are ultimately not here to stay. And I like to pop them in a imaginary vessel in front of me. Maybe it's a bowl of water. Maybe I'm writing my thoughts or scenarios on leaves that are floating down a river. And I just observe them and I create that distance where I don't need to identify. I am not my thoughts. I am not my feelings. I am not even my situation, but I can just observe it happening. And with that awareness, you're able to relax, take that weight off your shoulders and come back to the awareness that it's going to pass. And whatever you're going through is only temporary and it can't last.
Whatever comes to your head, you just put it in?
Put it in the bowl and then I take a third person perspective. So I step away from whatever's going on and I look at it objectively in my bowl of water, and the bowl of water holds that all for me. And then that space that you're creating, you can see it for what it is, you know, and you don't have to take it on board as your absolute truth and identify with it, because otherwise it's easy to spiral. And if you say, oh my gosh, I'm feeling like so depressed, I'm feeling so rejected, these affirmations that you tell yourself will embed it in your reality and it will become even more true for you. And then you'll, you know, search for the negative, like the reticular activating system in the brain looks for things in your environment that confirms its beliefs in order to reinforce them.
So you said about, obviously, you know, not taking on board those thoughts and stuff like that, and like obviously letting your energy basically let go of it, not hold it so tightly. Do you think to move on from somebody, you have to fully let go of them? So you can't be even having that small tie of like that habit of like looking at their socials, even if you're not speaking, or bringing him up. Do you think you have to consciously try to break that thought pattern to actually move on?
In my experience, you are the only person who can offer yourself closure. And by bringing them into the picture and, you know, giving them the virtual microphone in your life, you're wasting your time and your energy. And it's only going to make things harder at the end of the day if you're still caught up. I think it's okay as part of the process to let them visit you in your mind now and then. But you don't want to be the person banging on about them when it's long gone and finished. It's funny, actually, sometimes I have dreams about, you know, boyfriends from years ago.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know, that's my subconscious still processing, you know, and that has to happen. But I don't need to give them any more time of day, you know, and waste my time throughout the day.
And for somebody that doesn't know how to give themselves closure, where do they start? All these questions I'm asking you today are like, where do they start? And everything.
Well, that's because it can be a bit, feel like a big mountain to climb. I think offering yourself closure comes from real self-love, self-honesty, self-belief. You know, words like self-love are thrown around all the time. And what does that actually mean? It's authenticity, it's self-acceptance, it's knowing that whichever version of you is showing up today, whether you're sad, angry, excited, is welcome, and that you are going to put her needs first, you know, no matter what they are, and feel able to express yourself and, yeah, just loving yourself unconditionally, no matter what's going on for you in that scenario, because you're the only person you're going to spend, you know, the rest of your life with in your head. And so having a good relationship with yourself comes first and foremost before you then embark on the journey of giving yourself closure, climbing the mountain, you know, having boundaries, saying goodbye, protecting your peace.
Very hard to do, especially after the breakup. With a lot of the time, people feel, not always, but you feel very self-critical. And a tip that would get yourself out of that state,
it would definitely be speaking intentionally positive affirmations over my life. And affirmations look like I am, and then whatever you want to affirm to yourself. And over time, the subconscious mind will believe what you're saying. So I am beautiful. I am confident. I am radiant. I can do anything I want. I love myself. I feel amazing today. You know, it's a little bit of fake it till you make it, to be honest. And through the meditation, you become more aware of what your thought process is because you're observing your thoughts, right?
Yeah.
And so when you have a thought come up like, oh, I look so bad today. You go, when you're going there to those places, and just remind yourself that's not true. And then it might feel really stupid, but look at yourself in the mirror and say, I am lovable. I am worthy. Say it till you believe it. Say it like you mean it. And that's the, practical thing that your mind doesn't know the difference between the reality and what you tell it. And being really mindful of the way you speak about yourself, even to other people. Like, people say, oh, that's so funny, I'm dead. It's like, no, we don't want to be dead. We don't want to bring that in. Or like a photo, oh my God, I look so ugly in that. Don't say that. Just say, can we take another one? Like, that's not my favorite. Like, your language is so powerful because it's ultimately the seeds that you're planting in your mind that create your reality and your self-perception.
Crazy.
It is crazy. But you can change your life if you change your thoughts. And you deserve, to feel lovable. You deserve to feel worthy. And if you are able to convince yourself that you are, then it will be true for you.
There we go.
It's as simple as that.
It's as simple as that. Oh my God.